strawberry jam today. I need 4 cups of clean, de-stemmed, crushed strawberries. I'm going to wash them here. I'm going to de-stem them. Start out with some new picket I picked up yesterday fresh from the farm. So we should have some great jam here. We'll make it these. Wash these off. Wash them, rinse them off good. And I'm going to de-stem them. I like to use a spoon. I just scoop out that stem. You can do it with a knife, do anything you want to, but I find I like this better. It works good. You kind of control how much you take out. And we're going to put them here and rinse them off one more time. When you crush your berries, potato masher works really good. You can use a food processor or blender, whatever you want to use, but this works great. And you want to do about a layer of strawberries. You don't want to pile it up real thick because you just won't mash them and crush them good. So I'm going to put these in here, and it might not be exactly a single layer. It may have a couple in the pan, but that's about 4 cups. I've done this before. That comes out about right. Just take these and just mash them. Pretty much what I'm looking to see there. You get that done. I'll measure out 4 cups of it. And that will make 7 cups of sugar I'm going to add. Just regular granulated sugar. Periodically stir this when you're heating it up on a high temperature, high heat. You don't want it to burn, but you got to get it up to the actual temperature we're looking for is 220 degrees. Most of the directions tell you to bring it to a rapid boil that you can't stir down and boil it for 1 minute. And then you read the other one, do a little research. The temperature you're looking for is 220. Makes it a little easier to determine when you've really had it on the heat long enough. This is that Ceratoast we're using today. I'm using 1 package of Sure-Jell along with 4 cups of crushed strawberries, ripened strawberries, 7 cups of sugar, and in the butter to keep the foaming down. The pot I've used is larger than what I really need, but the other saucepans I've got are not near deep enough, and when it boils it tries to overflow, and you got to kind of monitor and always stir it down more. With this larger pot, it spreads it out more, gets a more uniform heat over all of the strawberries. But it also, even if it gets foams and boils a little bit, you don't have to worry about it coming out the top. Makes it a lot easier to manage and deal with. I really like this deep pot for making my jam. Put it around the edges, the boiling starts, and once it gets to that point, it's going to kick over pretty quick here in just a minute. And once I get a good rolling boil, I'm going to boil it for 1 minute before I add the secret ingredients, the gelling part. Then I'll boil it 1 minute after I put that in once I get it back. And both times I'm looking for a temperature around 220 degrees to get that sugar to set. And yes, if you don't get the temperature right and you don't boil it long and hard enough, you make some really good strawberry syrup. And I have had that before. You can always redo it. There's instructions on a lot of these different gelling agents of how to reprocess it. But I'm trying to do it right the first time where I don't have to redo it. Turns out right the first time, it's good. And that's what I want to see. I want to see it, the whole thing, even when I stir it, it still tries to boil like that. I'm just curious here, let's see what kind of steam, but it's too hot to handle. I gotta get my glove on. So I'm gonna start my timer in 1 minute and boil this for a minute. Just keep it stirring. Don't want to burn anything. You want to just keep it. I've already got my jars ready. My lids are ready. They've been sterilized. They're in hot water to keep everything hot. As soon as I get this ready, I can move over and start putting them in jars. I take all of my jars, and you'll see when I get over there, and fill them all and then put the caps on. A lot of people recommend you do 1 jar at a time, but it just seems like it works a lot better for me just to do it. Put them all in. I've always had good seals. I've never had a problem with it doing that way. And my 1 minute is up now, so I'm going to put my Fritos in there. Now I'm going to do this for another minute. Bring it back to a full rolling boil. Give myself another minute. And that, when you put that in, it kind of takes the foam, knocks it down, and that butter and all mixed in there together, it does a good job of not foaming. And I'm not even going to scoop the foam off. It doesn't hurt anything to put a little bit in your jam when you put it in the jars. It just takes extra time and an extra step I just don't bother to do. I just leave it in there. Unless it's really wrong, then there's something going on that I wasn't aware of. So we're about to get back to a boil. And this is where I want to make sure we get it up to 220 degrees before I start timing. Good hard boil. All right, we're at 220. So I'm going to start my timer and cook it for another minute. I'm not going to monitor the temperature the whole way through. It shouldn't go down any. It should stay at that 220. I hit the 220, good solid 220. Still holding. We're in good shape. All right, minute's up. Time to move. That out. Got my jars here. I'm going to put them on. Instead of 1 jar at a time, I'm going to just fill them all at one time and just be done with it. Use my little cup and my funnel here. Kind of stir this in. I'm going to make some pints and half pints. So just scoop it in. Within about 1/4 inch of the top. I usually don't go quite that much. Like that. I try to scoop this way. It keeps it more consistent. Once I have it all in, what I want to do now is go run around and make sure these lids have no contaminants on the top of them. If you get any of that jam up here, it won't let it seal. I'm going to wipe it. Make sure it's good and whole lot there with it. Just want to clean it. This one partial jar, what I'll do is I'll just put it in the fridge and consume it. I'm not going to worry about getting it to seal. That half a jar might not even want to seal if you try to make it seal. I'm going to take my lids now and place them on. I've already wiped them clean. Don't need any oil or anything. I've not touched any part on it. Now, what I want to do is put my lids on and just tighten them up. Good and snug, but don't want to over tighten them. Now, if you look at a lot of the directions they tell you to water bath can it, what I do is use the inverted seal type. I got them everything hot and clean. I flip it upside down for about 5 minutes. That one again, I'm not worried about it. And once the 5 minutes is up, then I'll take them put them right side up, put them in a cool place, and let them seal. And you know, for the next hour or so, maybe as much as a day or so later, but you'll hear it when it actually seals. You hear it pop, which sucks that lid down. But that's strawberry jam.